35. Black celebrities with the most tragic deaths. What if we told you that some of the brightest black icons' voices that shaped generations' legends who broke barriers were taken in ways so sudden, so violent, so tragic they still haunt us today? Plane crashes, drive-by shootings, overdoses, even murder by those closest to them. These aren't just tabloid stories, they're devastating truths behind 35 unforgettable lives. You may know their fame, but do you know the pain behind it? At Legends of Black Excellence, we're diving into the shocking ends of some of our greatest stars. Watch till the end, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to keep their legacies alive. Aaliyah Dana Houghton. Aaliyah Dana Houghton, affectionately known as the Princess of R&B, was a once-in-a-generation talent whose star burned brilliantly and vanished far too soon. Born on January 16, 1979 in Brooklyn, New York, and raised in Detroit, Aaliyah was performing by age 10 and signed her first record deal at just 12. By the time she turned 15, she had already released her debut album Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, produced by R. Kelly, launching her into the mainstream. Her sultry sound-striking image and angelic voice made her a standout in the rapidly evolving R&B scene of the late 90s. With hits like Try Again, One in a Million, and Are You That Somebody, she revolutionized the fusion of hip-hop beats with ethereal vocals. Her self-titled third album, Aaliyah, debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200, confirming her position as a rising megastar. But her talents extended beyond music. Aaliyah also had a promising acting career. Her performances in Romeo Must Die and the posthumously released Queen of the Damned revealed a new dimension to her artistry. Tragically, on August 25, 2001, after filming the music video for Rock the Boat in the Bahamas, Aaliyah and 8 others boarded a small twin-engine Cessna aircraft. Just moments after takeoff, the plane crashed, killing everyone on board. Investigations later revealed the aircraft was overloaded by hundreds of pounds, and the pilot was unlicensed and had cocaine and alcohol in his system. The disaster was preventable, and that truth made the loss even more agonizing. Her death sent shockwaves through the music world. At just 22, she had already achieved more than many do in a lifetime, yet it was evident she had only begun to scratch the surface of her potential. Fans, peers, and critics alike mourned a future that would never be realized. Today, Aaliyah's influence lives on in countless artists who cite her as inspiration. Her legacy is one of innovation, elegance, and unfulfilled brilliance forever etched into the fabric of modern music history. Sam Cooke. Sam Cooke, widely regarded as the father of modern soul, was more than just a singer. He was a revolutionary voice in both music and social progress. Born on January 22, 1931 in Clarksdale, Mississippi, and raised in Chicago, Cooke started his career as a gospel singer with the Soul Stirrers. His transition into secular music in the late 1950s marked a pivotal moment in American music history, introducing a silky smooth style that fused gospel's emotional core with R&B's rhythmic innovation. With timeless hits like You Send Me Cupid Chain Gang and the anthemic A Change Is Gonna Come, Cooke captivated audiences across racial lines during a deeply segregated era. His voice was warm, expressive, and uniquely his own, and he helped open doors for black artists in an industry dominated by white executives. More than just a performer, Sam was a savvy businessman founding his own publishing company record label, SAR Records, and taking control of his musical rights long before it was common practice. However, Cooke's life came to a sudden and controversial end on December 11, 1964. He was shot and killed at the Hacienda Motel in Los Angeles by the manager, Bertha Franklin. The official story claimed she acted in self-defense after Cooke allegedly burst into the office in a fit of rage, searching for a woman who had allegedly stolen his clothes. The account was murky, riddled with inconsistencies and lingering doubts that persist to this day. Some speculated it was a targeted hit or a setup tied to business dealings and personal betrayals. At only 33, the world lost a visionary whose influence would stretch for generations. His final song, A Change Is Gonna Come, became a civil rights anthem and a spiritual rallying cry. Cook didn't just sing songs, he changed culture, giving voice to hope, love, and justice. His tragic and mysterious death remains one of music's greatest sorrows, but his voice continues to echo in every soul-stirring lyric that dares to dream of a better world. Tupac Shakur. Tupac Amaru Shakur, often simply known as Tupac, was more than a rapper. He was a poet, activist, actor, and prophetic voice for the unheard. Born on June 16, 1971, in East Harlem, New York City, Tupac's roots ran deep in political activism. His mother, Afeni Shakur, was a former Black Panther, and that revolutionary spirit was infused in his art from the start. He didn't just rhyme, he challenged, provoked, and inspired, offering raw reflections on poverty, racism, violence, and resilience. Tupac burst into the national spotlight with his debut album, Tupacalypse Now, which included powerful tracks like Brenda's Got a Baby and Trapped. His lyrical genius continued with iconic albums like Me Against the World, All Eyes on Me, and the Don Killuminati, The 7-Day Theory. Songs like Dear Mama Changes and Hail Mary revealed a man torn between vulnerability and rage, intellect and aggression. By the mid-1990s, he had become a symbol of both controversy and truth, admired for his brilliance and criticized for his volatility. Offstage, Tupac lived a turbulent life marked by legal troubles, a high-profile prison sentence, and a bitter feud with fellow rap heavyweight, the notorious B.I.G. and Bad Boy Records. The East Coast versus West Coast rivalry escalated tensions in the hip-hop world to dangerous levels. On September 7, 1996, Tupac was shot 4 times in a drive-by shooting while riding in a BMW with Death Row Records CEO Suge Knight in Las Vegas. He succumbed to his injuries 6 days later on September 13th. He was only 25 years old. The shooter was never arrested, and the case remains unsolved, fueled by conspiracy theories, alleged police involvement, and whispers of revenge. Tupac's death left an irreplaceable hole in music and culture. Yet his words, energy, and activism continue to resonate. Over 75 million records sold posthumously, books, murals, and documentaries ensure his legacy endures. In life and in death, Tupac Shakur was a revolutionary, a restless spirit whose truth-telling remains timeless and whose murder remains one of hip-hop's darkest tragedies. Phyllis Hyman. Phyllis Hyman was a commanding presence in R&B and jazz, whose voice conveyed the kind of emotional depth that left audiences breathless. Born on July 6, 1949 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Hyman began her career as a background vocalist and nightclub performer before gaining recognition in the 1970s. Her stunning 6-foot frame and statuesque beauty made her unforgettable on stage, but it was her voice, rich, soulful, and tinged with melancholy, that set her apart. She found early success working with Norman Connors, most notably on the 1976 hit You Are My Starship, which introduced her to a national audience. That led to a solo career that included critically acclaimed albums like You Know How to Love Me, 1979, Living All Alone, 1986, and Prime of My Life. 1991, her songs, including Old Friend, When You Get Right Down to It, and Meet Me on the Moon, showcased a rare ability to blend technical vocal mastery with emotional sincerity. She was also a Tony-nominated actress, earning accolades for her performance in Sophisticated Ladies, a Broadway tribute to Duke Ellington. Despite her public success, Hyman struggled privately with depression, loneliness, and the pressures of fame. The music industry's demand for image, youth, and perfection weighed heavily on her, especially as she aged in an industry that often disregarded mature Black female artists. Friends noted her emotional exhaustion and persistent battles with bipolar disorder. On June 30, 1995, just hours before she was scheduled to perform at the Apollo Theater in Harlem, Phyllis was found unconscious in her apartment after intentionally overdosing on a lethal combination of drugs. She left a suicide note that read, in part, "I'm tired. I'm tired. Those of you that I love know who you are. May God bless you." She was pronounced dead at age 45. Phyllis Hyman's death sent shockwaves through the music world. Her voice, one that could express longing, pain, and hope, all in a single phrase, was silenced forever. Yet her music endures, and she is now revered as one of the most powerful, underappreciated vocalists of her time. Her tragic passing remains a solemn reminder of the unseen battles many artists fight behind closed doors. Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson, the king of pop, was not only one of the most famous entertainers in history, but also a transformative figure in global music and culture. Born on August 29, 1958, in Gary, Indiana, Jackson rose to fame as the youngest member of the Jackson 5 before launching a solo career that would forever change the entertainment industry. With groundbreaking albums like Off the Wall, Thriller, Bad Dangerous, and History, he shattered sales records and redefined the boundaries of pop, R&B, rock, and dance music. Thriller alone sold over 70 million copies worldwide, making it the best-selling album of all time. His innovations in music videos like Billie Jean Beat It and the 14-minute cinematic masterpiece, Thriller, revolutionized MTV and elevated music videos to an art form. Known for his trademark dance moves like the moonwalk and his unmatched stage presence, Jackson became a global icon whose influence spanned generations. Yet behind the glittering success lay a deeply complex and troubled life. Jackson endured relentless media scrutiny, allegations of child abuse, and an escalating dependency on prescription medications to manage chronic pain, stress, and insomnia. Despite his legal acquittal in 2005, the damage to his reputation, mental health, and emotional stability was immense. His physical appearance changed drastically over the years due to vitiligo, plastic surgeries, and public pressure to maintain a youthful image. In 2009, Michael announced his long-awaited comeback with the This Is It tour, 50 sold-out shows at London's O2 Arena. But he never made it to the stage. On June 25, 2009, Jackson was found unresponsive at his Los Angeles home. The cause of death was acute propofol and benzodiazepine intoxication. His personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray, was later convicted of involuntary manslaughter. Jackson's death at age 50 shocked the world, igniting global mourning. Fans held candlelight vigils and tributes poured in from every corner of the globe. Despite the controversies, Michael Jackson's artistry remains unrivaled. With over 400 million records sold and an enduring legacy of innovation, philanthropy, and inspiration, he continues to be one of the most influential figures in music history. His tragic end underscores the heavy toll of fame and the paradox of being loved by millions, yet burdened by profound personal pain. Lisa Left Eye Lopes. Lisa Left Eye Lopes was a fiery creative force best known as one-third of the Grammy-winning R&B trio TLC. Born on May 27, 1971 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, she blended rebellious flair with lyrical sharpness, delivering unforgettable verses on hits like Waterfalls, No Scrubs, and Ain't Too Proud, To Beg. With over 65 million records sold, TLC became the best-selling American girl group in history, and Lisa's outspoken personality made her its magnetic core. But her brilliance came with turbulence. Lopes struggled with anger and emotional trauma stemming from a troubled upbringing and volatile relationships. In 1994, she made headlines after setting fire to her boyfriend Andre Rison's sneakers, inadvertently burning down his mansion. Though she faced legal consequences, the incident revealed the inner turmoil she often tried to suppress. In the early 2000s, Lopes sought healing in Honduras through spiritual retreats and holistic medicine. She was also pursuing solo work, including her unreleased album Supernova. But on April 25, 2002, tragedy struck. While driving a Mitsubishi Montero on a rural road in Honduras, she swerved to avoid another vehicle and lost control. The SUV flipped several times, and Lopez, who wasn't wearing a seatbelt, was thrown from the car. She died instantly at age 30. Hauntingly, she had been filming a documentary in the days leading up to her death, and the fatal crash was captured on video. Lopes's passing devastated the music world. More than a rapper or pop icon, she was a visionary unafraid to challenge norms. Her death, sudden and raw, left an irreplaceable hole in music and a legacy that continues to inspire individuality, vulnerability, and self-expression. Rajul Butler. Rajul Butler was a talented NBA veteran celebrated for his sharp three-point shooting work ethic and charismatic presence both on and off the court. Born on May 23, 1979 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Butler rose from humble beginnings to play 13 seasons in the NBA, suiting up for teams including the Miami Heat, New Orleans Hornets, Chicago Bulls, and Los Angeles Clippers. Known for his resilience and leadership, he became a beloved figure in locker rooms across the league. Off the court, Butler remained active in his community and transitioned into media and motivational speaking after retirement. He was also in a long-term relationship with singer and American Idol finalist Leah LaBelle. The couple was often seen together at high-profile events and appeared to be building a promising post-basketball life. But on January 31, 2018, that future came to a violent end. While driving through Studio City, Los Angeles, Butler lost control of his Range Rover, which was traveling at nearly double the speed limit. The SUV struck a parking meter, flipped, and crashed into a shopping plaza. Both Butler and LaBelle were pronounced dead at the scene. Toxicology reports later confirmed Butler had alcohol and drugs in his system, including methamphetamine and oxycodone. The news sent shockwaves through both the sports and music communities. Friends and fans mourned not only the tragic loss of a skilled athlete and rising entertainer, but the harrowing reminder of how quickly life can be taken. Butler's death at age 38 is remembered not just for its circumstances, but for cutting short a life of promise, passion, and perseverance. Leah LaBelle. Leah LaBelle was a rising star in the world of R&B and pop, known for her soulful voice, infectious energy, and undeniable charisma. Born on September 8, 1986 in Toronto, Canada, and raised in Seattle, Washington, she first captured national attention as a finalist on Season 3 of American Idol in 2004, where she showcased a vocal talent far beyond her years. Though she finished 12th, her performance left a lasting impression, opening doors that would shape her music career. After Idol, LaBelle pursued her passion with unwavering determination. She became a backing vocalist for established acts like Carrie Hilson and Jordan Sparks, eventually signing a joint recording deal with Epic Records under the guidance of music legends Pharrell Williams and Jermaine Dupri. Her 2012 single, Sexify, was a testament to her vibrant style, playful yet refined, and marked her arrival as a solo artist with serious potential. With her retro-inspired aesthetic and smooth vocal delivery, she was often compared to R&B greats of the past, while carving her own lane. LaBelle was also known for her relationship with former NBA player Rajul Butler, whom she shared a deep and public bond with. The couple was frequently seen attending events together, radiating warmth and admiration for one another. Tragically, on January 31, 2018, Leah's life was cut short in a devastating car accident in Los Angeles. Rajul, behind the wheel and driving at excessive speeds while under the influence of multiple substances, lost control of the vehicle. Their SUV flipped and crashed, killing both Leah and Rajul instantly. She was only 31 years old. Leah LaBelle's death not only silenced a rising voice in music, but robbed the world of an artist whose best years were ahead of her. Her legacy lives on in the hearts of fans and collaborators who believed in her star power and soul-stirring potential. Notorious B.I.G. Christopher Wallace. Christopher Wallace, better known as the Notorious B.I.G. or Biggie Smalls, was a towering figure in 1990s hip-hop, a lyrical genius whose storytelling reshaped rap forever. Born on May 21, 1972 in Brooklyn, New York, Biggie's rise from street corner freestyler to global superstar was meteoric. His 1994 debut album, Ready to Die, redefined East Coast rap and established him as the voice of a gritty, poetic realism few could match. With tracks like Juicy Big Papa and Warning, he delivered narratives of street life with haunting detail and charismatic flow. His follow-up, Life After Death, released posthumously in 1997, is widely regarded as one of the greatest hip-hop albums of all time. Biggie's influence was immediate and immense both in sound and style, and his rivalry with Tupac Shakur fueled one of the most volatile periods in hip-hop history. On March 9, 1997, at just 24 years old, Biggie was shot and killed in a drive-by shooting in Los Angeles following a music industry party. His SUV was stopped at a red light when another vehicle pulled up and opened fire. Wallace was hit multiple times and pronounced dead shortly after. The murder shocked the world and deepened fears about violence in hip-hop. To this day, his killing remains officially unsolved, with speculation about police corruption, East-West tensions, and retaliatory motives still circulating. Biggie's death was not just a loss to rap, it was a loss to American music. His lyrical legacy and the depth of his craft continue to influence generations of artists. Despite a career that lasted just a few short years, Christopher Wallace remains a symbol of hip-hop's golden era. Brilliant, bold, and gone too soon. Prince Rogers Nelson. Prince Rogers Nelson, known globally as Prince, was a musical prodigy, a genre-defying icon, and a fierce advocate for artistic freedom. Born on June 7, 1958 in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Prince was a virtuoso, playing over 20 instruments and blending funk rock, soul, R&B, and new wave into a sound uniquely his own. His early albums like Dirty Mind in 1999 pushed boundaries, but it was Purple Rain 1984 that cemented him as a legend. The album sold over 25 million copies, and its accompanying film won an Academy Award. Prince was more than a performer. He was a visionary. Hits like When Doves Cry, Kiss, Little Red Corvette, and Raspberry Beret showcased his lyrical brilliance and sonic inventiveness. He challenged gender norms, broke racial barriers, and used his platform to fight against music industry control. In the 1990s, he famously changed his name to an unpronounceable symbol in protest of Warner Brothers, a bold stand for ownership of his masters. Despite his flamboyant stage persona, Prince lived a private and deeply spiritual life. He battled chronic pain reportedly from years of intense performances in high heels and acrobatic stunts. Tragically, on April 21, 2016, Prince was found unresponsive in an elevator at his Paisley Park estate. The cause, an accidental overdose of counterfeit fentanyl, a powerful opioid 50 times stronger than heroin. He was just 57. His sudden death shocked the world. There was no will, no farewell, only silence where music once roared. Fans turned Paisley Park into a shrine and cities lit buildings in purple. Prince's genius lives on in the hundreds of unreleased recordings he left behind, and in the artists he empowered through his defiant commitment to creativity, autonomy, and truth. Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant, nicknamed the Black Mamba, was a basketball legend whose discipline, competitive fire, and unrelenting pursuit of excellence made him one of the greatest athletes in history. Born on August 23, 1978 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Kobe was drafted into the NBA at just 17. Over a 20-year career with the Los Angeles Lakers, he earned 5 NBA championships, 2 finals, MVP awards, and 18 All-Star selections. He retired in 2016 as the 3rd all-time leading scorer and left the court with a 60-point game that became the stuff of legend. Bryant wasn't just an athlete, he was a philosopher of hard work. His Mamba mentality inspired millions to push beyond limits, whether in sports business or life. After retiring, Kobe seamlessly transitioned into storytelling. In 2018, he won an Academy Award for his animated short, Dear Basketball, becoming the first pro athlete to do so. But tragedy struck on January 26, 2020. Kobe and his 13-year-old daughter, Gianna, were en route to a youth basketball tournament when their helicopter crashed in Calabasas, California, killing all 9 people aboard. Investigators later concluded the crash was caused by pilot disorientation in heavy fog. Kobe was 41. The world mourned as if it had lost a family member. tributes poured in from presidents, athletes, musicians, and fans around the globe. Murals appeared overnight, candlelight vigils were held on courts and street corners, and even rival fans united in grief. Kobe's death wasn't just a sports tragedy, it was a cultural loss felt by every generation that had grown up watching him defy gravity and time. More than a champion, Kobe Bryant was a father, mentor, entrepreneur, and dreamer. His legacy lives not only in the banners hanging in Staples Center, but in the spirit of perseverance he instilled in millions who still chase greatness with Mamba mentality. Bobby Christina Brown. Bobby Christina Brown was born into music royalty as the only child of Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown. From the moment she entered the world on March 4, 1993, she was thrust into the public eye. Growing up, she appeared alongside her famous parents at award shows, red carpets, and even on the reality TV show, Being Bobby Brown. She inherited not only her mother's striking features and voice, but also the immense pressure of living in the shadow of superstardom. Following Whitney Houston's death in 2012, when Bobby was only 18, her life began to spiral. The loss left a gaping wound, and she reportedly struggled with grief, isolation, and substance use. Her relationship with Nick Gordon, a family friend turned boyfriend, was the subject of intense controversy and concern. Many close to her questioned the dynamics of the relationship and its impact on her mental and emotional health. On January 31, 2015, in a haunting echo of her mother's death, Bobby Christina was found unconscious, face down in a bathtub at her home in Roswell, Georgia. She was rushed to the hospital and placed in a medically induced coma, but after nearly 6 months in a vegetative state, she passed away on July 26, 2015 at the age of 22. The autopsy revealed drug intoxication and immersion in water as contributing factors to her death. Her tragic passing reignited public scrutiny over her personal life, particularly her relationship with Gordon, who was later found civilly liable for her death and ordered to pay $36 million in damages. Bobby Christina's story is one of lost potential. A young woman caught between legacy and trauma, unable to escape the shadows of fame and personal tragedy. Her death not only mirrored her mother's, but compounded the sorrow, serving as a sobering reminder of how unresolved pain can consume those left behind. Heavy D. Dwight Arrington Myers. Dwight Arrington Myers, better known as Heavy D, was a pioneering figure in hip-hop, whose vibrant personality and infectious energy helped bridge the gap between rap and mainstream audiences. Born on May 24, 1967 in Mandeville, Jamaica, and raised in Mount Vernon, New York, Heavy D rose to fame in the late 1980s as the frontman of Heavy D and the Boys. Their debut album, Living Large, introduced the world to his charismatic flow and feel-good beats. Known for hits like Now That We Found Love, Somebody for Me, and Is It Good to You, Heavy D stood out not only for his talent, but for challenging stereotypes. As a heavier-set artist, he exuded confidence, charm, and dance moves that defied expectations. He was instrumental in bringing a more positive, crossover-friendly image to hip-hop at a time when the genre was often maligned. Heavy D was also a successful producer, actor, and music executive, helping launch careers for artists like Soul for Real and Monifa. He made notable appearances on TV and film, including roles in the Cider House Rules Living Single and Bones. On November 8, 2011, shortly after returning from a trip to London, Heavy D collapsed outside his Beverly Hills home. He was rushed to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. The official cause of death was a pulmonary embolism, a blood clot that had traveled from his leg to his lungs, possibly caused by prolonged immobility during his flight. He was just 44. His sudden death came as a shock to fans and colleagues alike. Known for his kindness, humility, and enduring optimism, Heavy D left behind a legacy that reached far beyond music. He broke barriers, uplifted others, and brought joy to millions. Though gone too soon, his spirit lives on in the rhythm, style, and heart of a generation he helped define. Dalla Roderick Anthony Burton II. Roderick Anthony Burton II, professionally known as Dolla, was a promising young rapper whose life was tragically cut short, just as his star began to rise. Born on November 25, 1987, in Chicago, Illinois, and raised in Atlanta, Georgia, Dolla entered the entertainment world at an early age. He initially performed in a hip-hop dance group called Da Rascal's Crew before transitioning to music full-time. His charisma, lyrical talent, and Southern swag caught the attention of music executives, and by 2007, he had signed with Akon's Convict music label. Dolla made a splash with his breakout single, Who the F Is That?, featuring Akon and T-Pain, which quickly gained traction on urban radio. He was positioned as a fresh face in the new wave of Southern rap and was working on his debut album, A Dollar and a Dream. With his street-savvy lyrics and accessible image, he was widely seen as a future chart topper. But on May 18, 2009, at just 21 years old, Dolla's life was violently ended. While waiting in the valet area of the Beverly Center in Los Angeles, he was approached by Aubrey Berry, a man with whom he'd had a prior confrontation. Berry shot Dolla multiple times before fleeing the scene. Despite emergency medical efforts, Dolla was pronounced dead at the hospital. Berry was arrested and charged with murder, but he claimed self-defense and was later acquitted. The verdict sparked debate and outrage, particularly among Dolla's fans and peers in the music industry who believed justice had not been served. Dolla's death represented more than the loss of a budding star. It was yet another case of senseless gun violence claiming a young black artist. Though his career had barely begun, his passion, ambition, and talent left a mark, and his tragic ending remains a painful reminder of the dangers that persist even amid rising fame. James Brown. James Brown, famously dubbed the Godfather of Soul, was one of the most electrifying and influential artists in American music history. Born on May 3, 1933 in Barnwell, South Carolina, Brown rose from extreme poverty to become a global phenomenon. His career, which spanned 6 decades, reshaped not only soul music, but also funk, R&B, and hip-hop. His dynamic stage presence, unmatched energy, and iconic moves, including his rapid footwork and dramatic cape routine, made him a legend. With a catalog that includes timeless hits like I Got You, I Feel Good, Papa's Got a Brand New Bag, It's a Man's World, and Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud. Brown gave voice to both joy and revolution. He was a pioneer in every sense, breaking racial barriers, influencing generations of musicians, and becoming a symbol of black pride during the civil rights movement. Brown was also a savvy businessman and philanthropist, though his personal life was often marked by legal troubles, financial issues, and allegations of abuse. Despite these challenges, he remained a towering figure in music until the end. On December 25, 2006, James Brown died of congestive heart failure due to complications from pneumonia at Emory Crawford Long Hospital in Atlanta, Georgia. He had been hospitalized just 2 days earlier with symptoms of fatigue and difficulty breathing. His final words reportedly were, "I'm going away tonight." Brown's death marked the end of an era. His impact on modern music is immeasurable. Samples of his work appear in countless songs across genres, and artists, from Michael Jackson to Prince to Kendrick Lamar, have cited him as a foundational influence. To this day, James Brown remains one of the most sampled, studied, and celebrated musicians of all time. His unmatched rhythm, boundless energy, and bold spirit continue to echo across stages, studios, and civil rights conversations worldwide. Otis Redding. Otis Redding, known as the King of Soul, was a musical powerhouse whose raw emotion and expressive voice redefined rhythm and blues in the 1960s. Born on September 9, 1941 in Dawson, Georgia, Redding grew up singing in church and was heavily influenced by gospel and blues. He burst onto the national scene with his 1962 hit, These Arms of Mine, a tender ballad that showcased his powerful delivery and deep sensitivity. His success continued with unforgettable tracks like Respect, later famously covered by Aretha Franklin, Try a Little Tenderness, and I've Been Loving You Too Long. With his passionate vocal style and commanding stage presence, Redding quickly became one of Stax Records' top artists and a respected figure among both black and white audiences during a racially divided era. His music often explored themes of heartbreak, resilience, and longing, making him a voice for universal human emotions. By 1967, Redding had reached a new creative peak. He delivered a show-stopping performance at the Monterey Pop Festival, cementing his crossover appeal. Just days later, he recorded Sittin' on the Dock of the Bay, a soulful, introspective track unlike any he'd done before. It would become his greatest legacy. Tragically, on December 10, 1967, Redding's private plane crashed into Lake Monona in Madison, Wisconsin, en route to a show. He and 6 others perished. He was only 26 years old. Miraculously, one band member survived. The wreckage, the fog, and the freezing water sealed one of music's most heartbreaking losses. Redding's posthumous single Dock of the Bay went on to top the charts, making him the first artist to earn a posthumous #1 hit on the Billboard Hot 100. His influence still resonates in soul rock and even hip-hop. Though his life was tragically brief, his voice and artistry left a permanent imprint on American music history. Nipsey Hussle. Ermias Asghedom. Nipsey Hussle was more than a rapper. He was a visionary community leader and a symbol of what redemption and self-determination could look like in modern America. Born Ermias Joseph Asghedom on August 15, 1985 in Los Angeles, California. Nipsey grew up in the Crenshaw neighborhood, surrounded by gang culture, poverty, and systemic neglect. Instead of letting his circumstances define him, he transformed them into fuel for a larger mission. After early mixtapes like Bullets Ain't Got No Name and The Marathon, Nipsey earned respect for his lyrical authenticity and entrepreneurial drive. His 2018 debut studio album, Victory Lap, was nominated for a Grammy and became a critical and commercial triumph. But beyond music, he was deeply invested in economic empowerment, opening the Marathon clothing store, launching STEM programs, and working to revitalize his neighborhood through real estate and education initiatives. On March 31, 2019, Nipsey was shot multiple times outside his own store in Hyde Park, Los Angeles. The assailant, Eric Holder, had a personal dispute with Nipsey. The shooting was both intimate and devastatingly public. Nipsey was pronounced dead at age 33, leaving behind his longtime partner actress, Lauren London, and 2 young children. His death sparked a nationwide outpouring of grief and reflection. A public memorial was held at the Staples Center, attended by over 21,000 people, and tributes flooded in from politicians, athletes, artists, and everyday citizens. Former President Barack Obama even sent a letter praising Nipsey's commitment to his community. Nipsey Hussle's life embodied transformation, turning pain into purpose and hustling for something greater than fame. His tragic murder silenced a powerful voice just as the world was beginning to fully hear it. Still, his blueprint lives on in every entrepreneur, artist, and activist who believes in building from the ground up. His name, his work, and his vision endure. The marathon continues. Donny Hathaway. Donny Hathaway was one of the most emotionally resonant voices in American music history, a genius of soul, jazz, and gospel whose artistry continues to inspire decades after his death. Born on October 1, 1945 in Chicago, Illinois, and raised in St. Louis, Hathaway began playing piano as a child and studied music at Howard University, where he formed connections with future greats like Roberta Flack. His early work as a songwriter, arranger, and session musician led to a solo career that blended lush orchestration with deeply personal lyrics. His 1970 debut album, Everything is Everything, introduced the world to a rare talent capable of infusing soul music with classical sophistication, with hits like A Song for You, The Ghetto, Someday We'll All Be Free, and the timeless duet, Where is the Love, with Roberta Flack. Hathaway crafted music that was socially conscious, heartbreakingly honest, and spiritually uplifting. His Christmas anthem, This Christmas, remains a holiday staple. However, behind his brilliance was a life marked by profound suffering. Hathaway battled severe mental illness, specifically paranoid schizophrenia, for much of his adult life. Despite ongoing treatment, the condition increasingly disrupted his relationships, recording sessions, and performances. Friends and collaborators described erratic behavior and delusions that intensified over time. On January 13, 1979, Hathaway was found dead on the sidewalk outside the Essex House Hotel in New York City. Authorities ruled his death a suicide, stating he had jumped from the 15th floor balcony of his hotel room. He was only 33. His passing shocked the music world and left countless fans mourning what could have been. Though his life was short, Donny Hathaway's impact was immense. His voice, full of raw vulnerability and soul-stirring warmth, continues to move listeners. He gave voice to both black joy and struggle, and his tragic end serves as a haunting reminder of how mental illness can claim even the most gifted among us. Chadwick Boseman. Chadwick Boseman was a transformative actor whose roles redefined black heroism on screen and whose private battle with cancer revealed a depth of strength few knew he carried. Born on November 29, 1976, in Anderson, South Carolina, Boseman graduated from Howard University and trained at the British American Drama Academy in Oxford. He emerged as a powerful storyteller committed to portraying historical and heroic black figures with dignity and nuance. Boseman's breakout role came in 2013 as baseball legend Jackie Robinson in 42, followed by performances as James Brown in Get On Up and Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall in Marshall. His ability to embody iconic, complex characters quickly made him a sought-after actor known for elevating every project he touched. But it was his portrayal of King T'Challa in Black Panther 2018 that immortalized him. As the first black superhero to headline a major Marvel film, Boseman became a cultural beacon for millions. Black Panther grossed over $1.3 billion globally and earned multiple Oscar nominations, shattering long-held industry barriers and inspiring an entire generation of viewers. What the world didn't know was that Boseman had been diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer in 2016. Even as the disease progressed to stage 4, he continued to film demanding roles. Marshall to Five Bloods, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, often while undergoing surgeries and chemotherapy. He never revealed his illness publicly. On August 28, 2020, Chadwick Boseman died at home in Los Angeles, surrounded by family. His death stunned the world as fans only learned of his condition after he was gone. He was just 43. Boseman's legacy transcends film. He gave us kings, warriors, and visionaries. In silence, he battled a disease that took his life, but in art, he gave us hope, pride, and purpose. His life, though brief, was a masterclass in grace, determination, and excellence. Aretha Franklin. Aretha Franklin, the undisputed queen of soul, was a once-in-a-lifetime voice who shaped American music and culture in profound, lasting ways. Born on March 25, 1942 in Memphis, Tennessee, and raised in Detroit, Michigan, Franklin grew up immersed in gospel music, performing in her father's church alongside future legends. Her father, Reverend C.L. Franklin, was a prominent preacher and civil rights activist, and that spiritual activist foundation never left her. She signed her first recording contract at 18 and found modest success in jazz and pop before reaching superstardom after signing with Atlantic Records in the late 1960s. There, she released a string of timeless hits that cemented her as an icon. Respect, Think, Natural Woman, Chain of Fools, and I Say a Little Prayer. Her powerful mezzo-soprano voice, commanding yet soulful, became synonymous with empowerment, pride, and passion, especially during the civil rights movement. With 18 Grammy Awards, over 75 million records sold, and countless accolades including the Presidential Medal of Freedom, Franklin wasn't just a singer, she was a symbol of black excellence, womanhood, and resilience. She performed at the inaugurations of U.S. presidents, won a Pulitzer Prize posthumously, and became the first woman inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1987. In her later years, Aretha battled pancreatic neuroendocrine cancer, a rare form of the disease. Despite ongoing health issues, she continued to perform often with reduced public appearances, still commanding attention with every note. Her final full concert was in 2017 for the Elton John AIDS Foundation. On August 16, 2018, Franklin passed away at her Detroit home surrounded by loved ones. She was 76. The news of her death triggered a global wave of mourning with tributes from heads of state fellow artists and everyday fans who grew up with her music. Aretha Franklin's voice didn't just entertain, it moved nations. Her influence crossed generations, genres, and continents. She was more than the queen of soul, she was the heart of a people, and her music will forever be a testament to the power of authenticity and faith. Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye, often hailed as the Prince of Motown, was a transcendent artist whose blend of soul, political awareness, and vulnerability forever changed the fabric of American music. Born on April 2, 1939 in Washington, D.C., Gaye rose to prominence in the 1960s as a staple of the Motown sound, delivering hits like "Ain't No Mountain High Enough, How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by You and I Heard It Through the Grapevine." But Gaye was more than a crooner. He was an innovator transforming from pop star to voice of a generation. His 1971 masterpiece, What's Going On, is one of the most socially conscious albums ever recorded, tackling themes like war, poverty, and environmental destruction. It redefined what black music could say and how deeply it could speak to the soul. He followed with the sensual, "Let's Get It On," the emotionally raw "Here, My Dear," and the spiritually conflicted "Trouble Man." Despite his success, Gaye's life was marked by turbulent struggles with drug addiction, depression, financial troubles, and strained personal relationships. His volatile relationship with his father, Marvin Gaye Sr., was particularly toxic. After years of tension, Marvin temporarily moved back into his parents' home in Los Angeles. Tragically, on April 1, 1984, just one day before his 45th birthday, Marvin Gaye was shot and killed by his father during a domestic argument. The bullet struck his chest, ending the life of one of music's most beloved voices. Marvin Gaye Sr. later pleaded no contest to voluntary manslaughter and received a suspended sentence. Marvin Gaye's death was a stunning blow to the world of music. He had just staged a major comeback with his Grammy-winning hit Sexual Healing and was preparing for a global tour. His murder was more than tragic. It was Shakespearean, the ending of a deeply conflicted genius taken at the hands of the man who raised him. To this day, Gaye's influence is immeasurable. His music, voice, and message endure as a soundtrack for justice, love, and human struggle. His loss remains one of the most heartbreaking chapters in the history of soul music. Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix is widely considered the most innovative and influential electric guitarist in music history. Born Johnny Allen Hendrix on November 27, 1942, in Seattle, Washington, he redefined the sound of rock with his experimental use of feedback distortion and explosive improvisation. Though his mainstream career lasted less than 4 years, Hendrix's impact on rock, blues, and funk remains unmatched. After serving in the U.S. Army, Hendrix began performing in the early 1960s as a backing guitarist for artists like Little Richard and the Isley Brothers. In 1966, he formed the Jimi Hendrix Experience, and by 1967, he shocked the world at the Monterey Pop Festival by lighting his guitar on fire literally and musically. His albums, Are You Experienced, Axis Bold as Love, and Electric Ladyland, are regarded as masterpieces. Tracks like Purple Haze, All Along the Watchtower, and Voodoo Child demonstrated his otherworldly technique and boundary-pushing style. He became a symbol of the 1960s counterculture and an icon of psychedelic rock, headlining Woodstock in 1969 with a legendary performance of the Star-Spangled Banner that turned protest into art. But Hendrix's life offstage was chaotic. He struggled with substance abuse, professional burnout, and legal disputes. On September 18, 1970, he was found unresponsive in a London apartment after reportedly overdosing on sleeping pills and choking on his own vomit. He was pronounced dead at 27, joining the infamous 27 Club alongside Janis Joplin and Jim Morrison. His death was ruled accidental, though questions still linger. Hendrix left behind a staggering body of unfinished work and a legacy that influenced every generation of rock musicians to follow. His innovative techniques, flamboyant performances, and spiritual connection to his instrument forever changed the course of music history. Bernie Mac, Bernard, Jeffrey McCullough. Bernie Mac was a comedy giant whose razor-sharp wit, commanding stage presence, and unmatched delivery earned him a permanent place among the greats of stand-up and television. Born on October 5, 1957 in Chicago, Illinois, Mac began performing in local clubs in the late 1970s and gained national attention after winning a spot on Def Comedy Jam in the early 90s. His signature blend of no-nonsense humor, family tales, and Chicago grit made him a fan favorite. Mac's film career took off in the 2000s with roles in the original Kings of Comedy Ocean's 11 and its sequels, Mr. 3000 and Guess Who. But his crowning achievement was The Bernie Mac Show, which aired from 2001 to 2006. The sitcom, based on his real-life experiences raising his sister's children, was acclaimed for its honesty, emotional depth, and comedic brilliance. It won an Emmy and a Peabody Award and earned Mac a loyal following across generations. Despite his success, Bernie Mac faced a long-standing battle with sarcoidosis, a rare autoimmune disease that attacks the lungs and lymph nodes. He kept his condition mostly private, continuing to work tirelessly through years of fatigue and health complications. In July 2008, Mac was hospitalized with pneumonia, a complication related to sarcoidosis. On August 9, 2008, he passed away at Northwestern Memorial Hospital in Chicago. He was only 50 years old. His sudden death stunned the entertainment world and fans around the globe. Mac's comedic style, bold, heartfelt, and brutally honest, resonated deeply with audiences. He wasn't just funny, he was fearless, often turning personal pain into profound laughter. Bernie Mac didn't just entertain, he connected. And in doing so, he left behind a legacy of laughter, resilience, and truth that continues to echo long after his final curtain call. Naya Rivera. Naya Rivera was a multifaceted talent whose voice charisma and screen presence captivated millions. Born on January 12, 1987 in Valencia, California, Rivera entered the entertainment world as a toddler, appearing in national commercials and landing early roles on shows like The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Family Matters. However, it was her portrayal of Santana Lopez on Glee 2009-2015 that launched her into global stardom. As Santana, a tough but vulnerable cheerleader with a sharp tongue and a complex emotional arc, Rivera broke new ground, particularly for LGBTQ+ representation on mainstream TV. Her performance was widely acclaimed for its nuance and honesty, earning her a passionate fan base and cultural significance well beyond the screen. A gifted singer, she also shined during musical numbers, contributing to Glee's chart-topping soundtracks. Outside of acting, Rivera pursued music and advocacy. She signed a deal with Columbia Records in 2011 and was a vocal supporter of issues such as gender equality and LGBTQ+ rights. But her personal life was often marked by public relationships, media scrutiny, and challenges balancing fame and motherhood. On July 8, 2020, while boating with her 4-year-old son Josie on Lake Piru in California, Rivera went missing. Her son was later found alone on the boat, wrapped in a towel, asleep. After a 5-day search, Rivera's body was recovered. Authorities determined that she had drowned while saving her son, using her final moments to push him back onto the boat before being pulled under the water herself. She was just 33. Rivera's death was heartbreaking and heroic. Her final act of selflessness became a defining tribute to her strength as both a mother and a person. In life, she brought complexity and power to every role. In death, she became a symbol of fierce love and sacrifice. Her legacy, like her voice, continues to echo in the hearts of those she touched. Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston was a once-in-a-century voice whose unparalleled talent changed the music industry forever. Born on August 9, 1963 in Newark, New Jersey, she was raised in a family steeped in gospel. Her mother, Cissy Houston, a renowned gospel singer, her cousin, Dionne Warwick, and godmother, Aretha Franklin. Whitney's roots in church music shaped her powerful vocal style, one that would later become iconic. She burst onto the scene in the mid-1980s with her debut album, Whitney Houston, which featured hits like Saving All My Love for You and How Will I Know. Her follow-up, Whitney, made her the first woman to debut at #1 on the Billboard 200. With 7 consecutive #1 singles, Houston set records that still stand today. Her version of I Will Always Love You from the Bodyguard soundtrack became one of the best-selling singles of all time, showcasing her stunning vocal range and emotional depth. With over 200 million records sold worldwide, 6 Grammy Awards, and a catalog filled with timeless classics like I Have Nothing, I Wanna Dance with Somebody, and Greatest Love of All, she earned her title as The Voice. However, fame came with a heavy cost. Her turbulent marriage to Bobby Brown's substance abuse and constant media scrutiny took a profound toll on her health and career. Despite numerous comebacks, Whitney struggled to maintain the brilliance that defined her early years. On February 11, 2012, just hours before she was scheduled to attend Clive Davis's pre-Grammy gala, Whitney was found unresponsive in the bathtub of her suite at the Beverly Hilton Hotel. She had drowned with heart disease and cocaine use listed as contributing factors. She was 48. Houston's death sent shockwaves through the world. Candlelight vigils, tribute concerts, and tearful tributes poured in mourning the loss of a voice that had defined a generation. More than a pop icon, Whitney Houston was a cultural force, a woman whose voice could move heaven and earth, whose influence remains eternal. Her life, marked by unimaginable highs and devastating lows, remains one of the most celebrated and tragic in music history. Roger Troutman. Roger Troutman was a pioneering funk musician, songwriter, and producer whose signature talk box sound revolutionized 1980s R&B and hip-hop. Born on November 29, 1951 in Hamilton, Ohio, he was the frontman and creative force behind the band Zapp, which he formed with his brothers. With hits like More Bounce to the Ounce Dance Floor and Computer Love, Roger helped define the electro-funk movement that would later become foundational to West Coast hip-hop. A master of the talk box, a device that manipulated his voice into robotic melodies, Roger created a sound that was uniquely his own. His music was sampled extensively by rap legends like Dr. Dre, Tupac, and Snoop Dogg. In fact, Troutman provided the unforgettable hook for Tupac's posthumous anthem California Love, further solidifying his influence across genres. Beyond his musical innovation, Troutman was also a savvy businessman. He founded Troutman Sound Labs and maintained creative control over his work, mentoring younger artists and expanding his family's role in the music industry. Known for his joyful performances and flamboyant stage presence, Roger had a magnetic charm that drew fans from every corner of the world. But behind the scenes, tensions reportedly brewed, especially over financial disagreements within the family. On April 25, 1999, Roger was found critically wounded outside his recording studio in Dayton, Ohio. He had been shot multiple times. His brother Larry Troutman was discovered dead a short distance away from a self-inflicted gunshot wound, leading investigators to conclude it was a murder-suicide. Roger Troutman died later that day at age 47. The news sent shockwaves through the music community. Losing such a visionary artist in such a violent, personal way was devastating. Roger's influence continues to reverberate through funk, soul, and hip-hop. His music, once the pulse of the dance floor, now serves as a bittersweet reminder of brilliance lost too soon. Charmaine Maxwell. Charmaine Maxwell, best known as Maxie, was a talented singer whose soulful voice helped propel the R&B group Brownstone to international success in the 1990s. Born on January 11, 1969 in Guyana and raised in Los Angeles, Maxwell was one of 3 members of the Grammy-nominated trio signed to Michael Jackson's MJJ music label. With powerful harmonies and emotional ballads, Brownstone quickly rose to fame. Their debut album, From the Bottom Up 1995, was a critical and commercial hit, featuring the group's most well-known track, If You Love Me, which earned them a Grammy nomination and went gold in the US. Charmaine's soaring soprano added emotional texture to their sound, setting Brownstone apart in a crowded R&B field. While the group eventually disbanded, Maxwell remained active in music and continued performing overseas. She also focused on family life, marrying music producer Karsten Schack, known as Soul Shock, and raising their son. Despite her lower profile in later years, she was known for her vibrant spirit devotion to loved ones and enduring passion for music. On February 28, 2015, tragedy struck in a bizarre and heartbreaking accident. After returning home from her son's soccer game in Los Angeles, Maxwell reportedly fell while holding a wine glass. The glass shattered and a shard fatally severed her neck. She was found bleeding and unconscious by her husband, who immediately called emergency services. Despite attempts to save her, she was pronounced dead shortly after. She was only 46. Maxwell's shocking and sudden death stunned fans and fellow artists. It was a senseless accident that robbed the world of a voice full of grace and promise. Though her time in the spotlight was brief, her contribution to R&B remains cherished. Charmaine Maxwell's legacy lives on through the music she helped create and in the hearts of those she left behind. Band and I. Anthony Mason. Anthony Mason was a formidable force on the basketball court, a relentless blue-collar athlete known for his strength, grit, and unapologetic toughness. Born on December 14, 1966 in Miami, Florida, and raised in Queens, New York, Mason didn't take the traditional path to NBA stardom. After attending Tennessee State University, he was drafted by the Portland Trailblazers in 1988, but was soon waived, bouncing between the Continental Basketball Association international leagues and short NBA stints before finally finding his home with the New York Knicks. It was with the Knicks in the 1990s that Mason's career exploded. Standing 6'7" and built like a tank, he became a symbol of New York's hard-nosed identity. Under coach Pat Riley, Mason's defensive tenacity and physical style made him an indispensable part of a Knicks team that frequently clashed with NBA powerhouses. In 1995, he won the NBA Sixth Man of the Year award and later played for the Charlotte Hornets, Miami Heat, and Milwaukee Bucks. He was named an All-Star in 2001 while playing for Miami, a testament to his longevity and evolution as a player. Off the court, Mason was known for his unique personality, often shaving slogans or designs into his hair and engaging in community outreach in his hometown. He remained a beloved figure in New York sports long after retirement. In February 2015, Mason suffered a massive heart attack and was hospitalized. Despite medical efforts and multiple procedures, his condition deteriorated, and he passed away on February 28, 2015, at the age of 48 due to congestive heart failure. His death was met with an outpouring of grief from fans, teammates, and the basketball community. Anthony Mason's legacy lives on, not just in the stat sheets but in the hearts of fans who admired his resilience, his intensity, and his journey from the overlooked to the unforgettable. Lamont Bentley. Lamont Bentley was a gifted actor and rapper best known for his role as Hakeem Campbell on the hit 1990s sitcom Moesha. Born Artemus Lamont Bentley on October 25, 1973 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, he moved to Los Angeles with his mother at a young age to pursue a career in entertainment. Bentley worked tirelessly in small roles, commercials, and auditions before landing his big break. As Hakeem Bentley brought humor, vulnerability, and charm to Moesha, portraying the always hungry but loyal friend to Brandy's titular character. The role earned him a devoted fan base and made him one of the most recognizable faces on television among young black audiences during the late 1990s. He also appeared in South Central The Parkers and had a standout role as Crazy K in the cult horror film Tales from the Hood, 1995, showcasing his range beyond comedy. Outside of acting, Bentley pursued a career in music and was part of a rap group called Uprise. Friends and collaborators often spoke of his work ethic and humble spirit, with many believing he was just beginning to tap into his full creative potential. Tragically, Bentley's life was cut short on January 19, 2005. While driving late at night on Highway 118 near Simi Valley, California, he lost control of his vehicle, which skidded off the road and down an embankment. Bentley was ejected from the car and struck by several oncoming vehicles. He was pronounced dead at the scene. He was only 31 years old. His sudden death stunned fans and colleagues alike. Lamont Bentley was more than just a sidekick or supporting actor. He was a rising star whose genuine talent and infectious energy made every scene he touched come alive. Though his time was brief, his impact on black television and pop culture remains lasting and cherished. Joanne Borgella. Joanne Borgella was a trailblazing model, singer, and television personality who broke barriers in the entertainment industry with her talent, beauty, and unapologetic confidence. Born on May 29, 1982 in Oyster Bay Cove, New York, she made a name for herself in 2005 when she won the first season of Monique's Fat Chance, a reality competition created to celebrate plus-size women in modeling. Her victory crowned Miss FAT. Fabulous and thick was more than just a win. It was a powerful statement of inclusion in an industry long dominated by narrow standards of beauty. Following her modeling breakthrough, Joanne signed with Wilhelmina Models and landed major campaigns with brands like Torrid and Ashley Stewart. She graced magazine covers and walked runways, becoming one of the few plus-size models of her era to gain mainstream attention. But Borgella wasn't content to be known solely for her looks. She had a voice, and she wanted it to be heard. In 2008, she competed in Season 7 of American Idol, reaching the top 24 and winning over fans with her soulful tone and magnetic stage presence. Her vocal talent complemented her charismatic personality, and she continued to pursue music alongside modeling, always advocating for body positivity and self-love. Tragically, in 2013, Joanne was diagnosed with a rare form of endometrial cancer that had spread to her brain. She remained public about her battle, sharing candid updates and videos with her followers in hopes of raising awareness and inspiring strength. Her bravery and optimism during treatment touched many around the world. On October 18, 2014, Joanne passed away at the age of 32. Her death devastated fans and peers who remembered her as a radiant light, a woman who challenged stereotypes, empowered others, and left an indelible mark on fashion and entertainment. Joanne Borgella's life was one of resilience, courage, and fearless authenticity. Shirley Ann Hemphill. Shirley Ann Hemphill was a groundbreaking comedian and actress best remembered for her role as the sharp-tongued waitress Shirley Wilson on the popular sitcom What's Happening in the late 1970s. Born on July 1, 1947 in Asheville, North Carolina, Hemphill began her career as a stand-up comic, developing her act in small clubs before sending a homemade comedy tape to Flip Wilson. Impressed by her wit and timing, Wilson helped her secure an appearance on his variety show, marking the beginning of her television journey. Her breakout came in 1976 when she joined the cast of What's Happening, a sitcom centered on the lives of 3 teenagers in Los Angeles. Shirley's no-nonsense delivery, comedic timing, and natural chemistry with the cast made her a fan favorite. Her character became an iconic part of black television history, especially for her dynamic banter with Fred "Rerun" Barry and Ernest Thomas. Despite the show's success, it was plagued by behind-the-scenes conflicts leading to its cancellation in 1979. Hemphill later headlined her own short-lived sitcom, One in a Million, in 1980, and continued to make appearances on shows like Martin the Love Boat and Trapper John M.D. She also returned for What's Happening Now in the mid-1980s, reviving her beloved character for a new generation. Off-screen, Shirley was known for her generosity and unfiltered humor. She remained active in stand-up comedy throughout her life, performing in clubs across the country. However, she kept much of her personal life private, and as the years passed, her presence in Hollywood diminished. On December 10, 1999, Shirley Ann Hemphill was found dead in her home in suburban Los Angeles. She had passed away from kidney failure at the age of 52. Her death shocked fans, many of whom hadn't realized the extent of her health issues. Shirley Hemphill's comedic legacy is significant. She helped pave the way for black female comedians in a predominantly male-dominated industry. Her bold personality and fearless humor still resonate, making her a cherished figure in the history of black television and comedy. Simone Battle. Simone Battle was a vibrant and multi-talented performer whose life and career, filled with promise and potential, ended in heartbreaking tragedy. Born on June 17, 1989 in Los Angeles, California, Simone had a natural charisma that drew people to her both on and off the stage. She first gained national attention as a contestant on Season 1 of The X Factor USA in 2011. With her bold fashion sense, dazzling smile, and powerful stage presence, she stood out among her peers and quickly became a fan favorite. Although she didn't win the competition, Simone's career didn't slow down. In 2013, she was selected to join the girl group GRL, created by Robin Anton as a reimagined version of the Pussycat Dolls. The group gained momentum with songs like Vacation and Ugly Heart, a single that became a commercial hit in several countries. Simone's role in the group highlighted her magnetic performance style and star quality, and it seemed she was on the brink of global success. But behind her confident exterior, Simone was reportedly battling depression and emotional struggles, issues she kept hidden from the public eye. On September 5, 2014, she was found dead by suicide in her West Hollywood home. She was just 25 years old. Her death sent shockwaves through the music and entertainment industry, particularly among young fans who had watched her rise. Tributes poured in from fellow artists, fans, and friends who remembered her as passionate, kind, and full of energy. Her bandmates in GRL issued a heart-wrenching statement mourning the loss of not just a performer, but a sister. Simone Battle's passing highlighted the often invisible mental health struggles faced by rising stars in an industry that demands perfection. Her legacy remains one of strength, vulnerability, and talent gone far too soon. Simone Battle will always be remembered as a voice that shined with joy and a spirit that left an indelible impression. Stephanie Mosley. Stephanie Mosley was a dynamic dancer, actress, and choreographer whose life and career were tragically cut short by an act of domestic violence. Born on July 14, 1984 in Vancouver, British Columbia, Mosley moved to Los Angeles to pursue her dreams in entertainment. Her exceptional dance skills quickly made her one of the most sought-after performers in the business. She toured and performed with global superstars including Chris Brown, Britney Spears, Beyoncé, Janet Jackson, and Usher. Her ability to blend power with elegance earned her a spot on some of the world's biggest stages. But Stephanie was more than just a background dancer. She was a rising actress with a bright future in television. Her most notable acting role came as Asha on VH1's Hit the Floor, where she portrayed a professional cheerleader navigating ambition, love, and personal challenges. Mosley brought a magnetic presence to the screen, winning over fans with both her performance and authenticity. Her career was steadily gaining momentum, and she seemed poised for a major breakthrough. However, on December 8, 2014, the entertainment world was rocked by devastating news. Stephanie was shot and killed in her Los Angeles apartment by her husband, rapper Earl Hayes, in a murder-suicide. Authorities reported that the two had been having ongoing marital disputes, and Hayes allegedly took her life before turning the gun on himself. She was only 30 years old. The tragedy sparked urgent conversations about domestic violence in the entertainment industry. Friends, colleagues, and celebrities publicly mourned the loss of a talented young woman whose potential had only begun to unfold. Stephanie was remembered for her warmth, professionalism, and light-up-the-room personality. Her death remains a chilling reminder of the silent battles many face behind closed doors. Though her life was taken too soon, Stephanie Mosley's legacy lives on through the artistry she shared and the awareness her story continues to raise. Wiley Hughes Draper Jr. Wiley Hughes Draper Jr. was a talented dancer and actor best remembered for his extraordinary portrayal of Michael Jackson in the 1992 miniseries, The Jacksons, An American Dream. Born on May 5, 1969 in West Virginia, Draper showed an early passion for performance, particularly dance. His graceful movements and magnetic stage presence eventually landed him a job as a performer at Walt Disney World, where his natural charisma began to draw wider attention. His big break came when he was cast as a young adult Michael Jackson in the TV biopic, The Jacksons: An American Dream. Draper's uncanny resemblance to Jackson, combined with his ability to mimic the king of pop's dance moves with precision and style, won him immediate praise. In the highly watched miniseries, Draper performed the legendary Billie Jean routine from the 1983 Motown 25 special, arguably one of the most iconic performances in music history. The production was a major success, watched by over 38 million viewers, and Draper became an overnight sensation. Despite his rising fame, Draper kept a relatively low profile after the miniseries. He continued working in the industry, but remained selective about his roles. Behind the scenes, tragedy was quietly unfolding. In 1993, Draper was diagnosed with a rare form of leukemia. The aggressive illness progressed quickly, and despite treatment efforts, Wiley passed away later that year at just 24 years old. His death devastated fans who had hoped to see him grow into a long and fulfilling career. He was mourned not only for the loss of talent, but for the loss of a young man whose potential was just beginning to blossom. To honor his legacy, his family established the Wiley Draper Foundation to promote awareness about leukemia and support young artists in underserved communities. Though his life was brief, Wiley Hughes Draper Jr. left a powerful impression through one unforgettable role and a legacy of grace, passion, and quiet brilliance. Tara Correa McMullen. Tara Correa McMullen was a young actress whose life was tragically cut short before her full potential could be realized. Born Shalva McMullen on May 24, 1989 in Westminster, Vermont, she moved to Southern California with her mother and sister. Growing up in Inglewood, she faced numerous challenges, including housing instability, but remained focused on her dreams of acting and creative expression. Her breakout role came at just 15 years old, when she was cast as gang member Graciela Reyes in the CBS drama Judging Amy. Her performance was widely praised for its emotional depth and authenticity, especially given her young age and limited acting experience. Her ability to bring a hardened, layered character to life captured both critics' and audiences' attention, and industry insiders believed she was on the path to stardom. Tara also had a supporting role in the 2005 Martin Lawrence film Rebound, continuing to build momentum in her career. Despite her success, she began associating with individuals connected to local gangs, a dangerous entanglement that would eventually prove fatal. On October 21, 2005, Tara was shot and killed outside her Inglewood apartment complex. The shooter, 26-year-old gang member Damian Watts, opened fire in a drive-by attack. Tara, who was standing near the entrance of the building, was struck and died at the scene. She was only 16 years old. Watts was later convicted and sentenced to 5 consecutive life terms without the possibility of parole. Her death sent shockwaves through the entertainment community and was later chronicled in the documentary series Boulevard of Broken Dreams. Many who had worked with Tara described her as warm, driven, and immensely gifted. Her story serves as a sobering reminder of how quickly talent and potential can be lost to senseless violence. Tara Correa McMullen's life, though tragically short, remains a powerful symbol of promise, vulnerability, and the urgent need to protect young lives from systemic violence and missed opportunities. Fred Rerun Berry. Fred Allen Berry, affectionately known as Rerun, was a beloved actor and dancer who became a cultural icon in the 1970s for his unforgettable role on the hit sitcom What's Happening? Born on March 19, 1951 in St. Louis, Missouri, Berry grew up in a modest background and battled adversity from a young age. Despite being teased for his weight, he embraced dance as a form of expression and ultimately as a pathway to stardom. Before his acting career took off, Berry was already making waves as a member of the Los Angeles-based dance group, the Lockers, pioneers of the locking style of dance. With his signature red beret and suspenders, Rerun became an instantly recognizable face, not only in dance circles but across American pop culture. He made appearances on Soul Train and Saturday Night Live, bringing funk dance into the mainstream. In 1976, Barry landed the role of Freddie Rerun Stubbs on What's Happening, a show loosely based on the 1975 film Cooley High. Rerun's character, fun-loving, always hungry, and full of comedic charm, quickly became the breakout star of the series. His energetic dance moves, paired with his expressive face and comic timing, made him a favorite among viewers. The show ran until 1979, and Barry reprised his role in the 1980s sequel What's Happening Now. However, Barry's success was also accompanied by personal struggles. Behind the laughter and the dancing, he faced severe battles with substance abuse and depression. He attempted suicide multiple times and later revealed that fame had taken a serious toll on his mental and emotional well-being. He eventually found solace in religion, becoming a born-again Christian and later an ordained Baptist minister. He also worked as an inspirational speaker, candidly sharing his story with others in hopes of helping them avoid similar pitfalls. On October 21, 2003, Fred Barry passed away in his Los Angeles home from a stroke. He was 52. His death brought sadness to fans across generations who had grown up laughing with and dancing like Rerun. Fred Barry's legacy is one of joy, rhythm, and resilience. He remains a symbol of 1970s television and urban dance culture, remembered not only for his talent, but for overcoming adversity to inspire others through both entertainment and truth. Their stories are heartbreaking, their talents undeniable, and their legacies unforgettable. These 35 black celebrities didn't just entertain the world, they changed it. From the soulful cries of Marvin Gaye to the fearless vision of Chadwick Boseman, each life lost left behind not only a void, but a message. Were these deaths simply tragic accidents or reflections of deeper struggles within fame, race, and mental health? At Legends of Black Excellence, we don't just honor their memory, we ask the tough questions. Which of these losses hit you the hardest? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe and join the conversation.